We're almost into a new month of the new year. Time passes by really quick, doesn't it? There's something that is changing just as fast. Our world. The Earth's average temperature has risen over 1.2 degrees Celsius since the 19th century. 2020 was the hottest year on record. The World Meteorological Organization calls it the second hottest. Greenland lost 152 gigatons of ice between September 2019 and August 2020. 1 gigaton of water can fill 400,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Water 152 times that amount has been added to our oceans. While the ocean surface rose, so did its temperature. In 2020, 80% of ocean areas experienced at least one marine heat wave. Half of Australia's Great Barrier Reef is either dead or dying. The Atlantic hurricane season witnessed 30 named storms between June 1st and November 30th. That's the highest number ever recorded. Asia and Africa witnessed heavy rainfall and flooding. It's a vicious cycle. You know this diagram. It's called the water cycle. It represents how water from the surface of the earth evaporates, then condenses into clouds and precipitates back to earth in the form of rain and snow. You know, like the snow in Spain. Beautiful, isn't it? Except it's scary. It's not supposed to snow in Madrid, but it did this year. When our earth heats up, droughts are prolonged, ice melts more rapidly, more water evaporates into the atmosphere, and our earth receives more than usual rain. There's flood and extreme weather conditions. Most of us think the effects of climate change are limited to those living near oceans, or the polar bears in the Arctic, or those living under thatched roofs, or animals and birds, not us. What we don't realize is that climate change affects all of us. It makes us late for work. It affects our coffee, the food we eat, our health care. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Do you live in any of these cities? They're likely to be underwater by 2050. 145 million people live 3 feet or less above sea level. Nearly 800 million people less than 30 feet above sea level. If Greenland's entire ice sheet thaws, it could add 20 feet to the height of global seas. 11 megacities could be underwater. Jakarta, Los Angeles, Manila, Mumbai, Osaka, Shanghai, Tokyo, most of Florida and New York would be underwater. Well, you may not be living in these cities, but do you like coffee? Climate change is making you pay more for coffee. The rising temperature has put your morning cup at risk. The price of coffee has increased by 20%. Coffee is grown in over 50 countries across South America, Central America, Asia, the Caribbean and Africa. Colombia is the world's top Arabica producer. 9 out of 10 farmers in Risaralda say they are experiencing rising temperatures. 3 out of 4 farmers are reporting longer droughts. As a result, the yearly production in Colombian coffee region called Zona Cafetera is fluctuating up to 40%. India's Arabica output touched the lowest since 2008. Vietnam is the world's largest producer of Robusta coffee, you know, your instant coffee. By 2050, drought would hit 90% of Vietnam's coffee production areas. 60% of the known coffee species are on the edge of extinction. Climate change is drinking up your coffee. The supply chain has been hit. You may not be living in these threatened cities. You may not be a fan of coffee either. But do you like fish? It is an essential source of protein for 3.2 billion people the world over. Fish provides 17% of the world's animal protein. A report shows that rising temperature is putting the Pacific salmon at risk. Young salmon die when the water warms above a certain threshold. Floods have been flushing salmon eggs and destroying their nest. Then there are toxic algae blooms nurtured by extreme weather. In 2019, 8 million farmed salmons were killed. The estimated loss, $82 million. The same year, the Indian state of Maharashtra witnessed the lowest catch ever. Fisheries have seen a 50% decline in their annual catch. Cyclones are narrowing fishing windows. Fish depend heavily on the marine algae. They're disappearing because of the rising sea temperatures. Phytoplankton, or marine algae population, has decreased by 20% in the last 6 decades. In the Western Indian Ocean alone, it has decreased 30% in the last 16 years. Now, say you neither live in these submerging cities, nor do you consume coffee or fish, but do you care about your health? The Wuhan virus has made us very health conscious. Our wristwatches have been replaced by health bands, soft drinks by health drinks. The gym is a new hangout. But none of this is going to help. None of it will keep you healthy as long as our planet is suffering. Climate change is the greatest threat to human health. Rising temperature results in dehydration, hypothermia, heat strokes, in extreme cases even death. Rising temperatures spark wildfires. The flames kill people and contribute to air pollution, which results in asthma, bronchitis. 2013 was the year of China's airpocalypse. Researchers found that in 74 Chinese cities, air pollution was associated with at least 1/3 of the deaths. Now, let's say you do not care about any of the above. Do you work for a living? Do you go to work? Climate change is making you spend more time commuting to work than you normally should. This headline is more than 3 years old. It says, severe weather is causing delay to half of the commuters at least once a month. 2020 was defined by extreme weather. It saw the hottest January on record, the hottest May and September. Australia, Siberia and California saw record wildfires. Jakarta received the highest daily rainfall since 1866. The Atlantic generated record storms. There were 7 forest fires. 1.5 million people were struggling for water. In May, the super cyclone Amphan hit India and Bangladesh. It was the costliest tropical cyclone on record. 2 million people were evacuated, 129 were killed. In July, Bangladesh was flooded again. 550 people were killed, 9.6 million people affected across Asia. In August, China's mega city Chongqing was put on its highest flooding alert since 1981. In the same month, California saw record fires. More than 405,000 hectares of land was gutted in 9 days. Pakistan saw its wettest August in history. 2020 September was the hottest on record. In October, the UK saw its wettest day on record. In November, the Philippines was caught off guard by Typhoon Goni. It was one of the strongest storms in history. At least 1 million people had to be evacuated. In Nicaragua, Hurricane Iota triggered flooding and landslides. Somalia was hit by Cyclone Gati. In December, bushfires began in Australia once again. Say you do not live in any of these countries or in the megacities under threat. You neither like coffee nor do you eat fish. You do not care about your health either. You do not have to commute to work every day, but do you care about your money? Climate change is taking a toll on your purse. Heat waves and droughts are connected to rising food prices. Climate change is also connected to your electricity bill. The hotter the temperature outside, the more you tend to use fans and air conditions. The colder it gets, the more you use your heater. 93% of people across 244 American cities say that they've seen an increase in the number of days when they required extra cooling. You will have to pay more for water the moment there's a shortage in supply. Bolivia's second largest lake has almost dried up. Iran's largest lake has all but disappeared. Africa's Lake Chad has shrunk 80% in 30 years. Climate change is threatening your beer, damaging your homes, making home insurance more expensive, disrupting outdoor exercises and travel, leaving us with no coral reefs. Climate change is affecting your menstrual cycle. It is making you break out. Do you still believe climate change does not affect you personally? Well, all I can say is watch this video again and repeat until you see the point.
Gravitas Plus, co-presented by Skoda. Simply clever.